Hello, friends, and welcome to Much Review About Nothing. Eternals, that's what I call K-dramas because they're all like 20 plus hours long. On this podcast, we review a movie we haven't seen through cultural osmosis and what we can find on the internet. I'm your host, Billy Greer.
And we're your co-hosts, Jake Greer and
Luke Greer.
Let's don't watch a movie. So we're back, finally.
Yes.
We inadvertently took November off.
We did.
Yeah, that's not my intention, but...
A lot of things happened, or a lot of things didn't happen, ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just wasn't working out to record. Turns out we have a lot of things and celebrations as we get to, especially...
There are 2 birthdays and Thanksgiving in November. It's an insane month for us.
I mean, they don't really deserve presents or anything if you think about it.
I know. It's really sad how they kept us away from our fans. We really need to ask them maybe to forego their birthdays during this month.
It's very inconvenient.
Yeah. We'll just lump them all with Christmas. We'll get them all then.
Might as well.
And that's kind of sort of what happens to me. Luckily, I'm like 5 days away from Christmas and Christmas Eve, so there's just enough space.
Yeah. Do you want people to know when your birthday is? I'm just because I can bleep it for you if you want. But.
I mean, it doesn't really matter that much.
Okay, as long as you're okay with it.
Well, the day doesn't matter.
Okay.
Kind of going into inspection.
Yes.
We got some great feedback, and this seems really obvious, but it never occurred to us even once that everybody would know what each of our segments are.
Right.
Because the problem, ultimately getting into it, is that especially the sound quality for our newest episode is so different than the sound quality for our previous and older episodes that most people are not going to go back and listen to those and get all what we've set up. So now, which I will explain, inspection is basically when we just do
housekeeping.
We just do housekeeping.
It's news. It's what's been going on. We just came up with a really, really dumb name for it because when we started, we were doing this like alliteration motif, and we basically stuck with it for the most part.
It's still going. I don't know if we have one that isn't, right?
I mean, Corden's Wardens technically is not, but that's
a sub thing of inspection.
It's
That's
sub.
Like I said, it's assonance. It's an internal rhyme.
It's asinine.
Yeah.
We also,
it is that too.
Another thing is, we didn't come up with it.
We didn't.
We didn't come up with Corden's Wardens.
No, name was given to us. It was too perfect to pass up. But yeah, so basically, we realized that our newest episodes could be alienating to newer listeners because we didn't think about the fact that a lot of people are probably going to start with the newest one. Because I usually like to start from episode 1 if I listen to a podcast, but like you said, with how bad the audio quality can be, that might be a tall order. So yes, from now on we're going to try our best, at least in a minor way, to explain which every segment of our podcast entails, and the backstory, so people are not like, who is Oscar Albert? What is this Plototron they're talking about? So that's definitely a big change we're going to do moving forward.
We have to give exposition.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
About the plot and setting.
So get ready for, it's not as egregious in a podcast, but get ready for an exposition dump here and there. So that was basically the biggest thing. And then in December, we're going to try to at least we're going to get our Christmas episode out, so look forward to that. We're not going to take this month off.
No. I feel like that's enough for inspection.
Yes.
And let's go on to Corden's Wardens.
Yes.
Where we have found out some dark secrets about James Corden. He is an eldritch being, along with many others. So we have been keeping an eye on him.
Yes.
And his news. And for that, we go to the Plototron, who is an AI who is also kind of an enemy of James Corden.
Yes, seems that way. We won't tell you the full story. You can find out about that in previous episodes if you're so inclined. But So yeah, the Plototron keeps us abreast usually of what James Corden has been up to.
And he has plenty of.
Yes, right. He does. Because as the wardens, and you're all welcome to join Corden's wardens, it is our sworn and solemn duty to make sure he does not grow too powerful. So, in honor of the movie we're doing today, which is the Eternals, Marvel's Eternals, I had some themed questions to ask the Plototron about James Corden.
Why wasn't he in it, for example? He would have been a great Eternal.
It's funny you're saying that because that's basically what I asked him. The first question I asked him is James Corden a Celestial as seen in the Marvel film Eternals? It's a question that had fans doing a double take on Twitter this weekend when the actor posted a rather cryptic tweet. The 44-year-old actor tagged comicbookmovie.com in his tweet that said, "Coming at ya," alongside the Eternals emoji. The Marvel
emoji? There's an emoji?
Usually on Twitter, they will sometimes create a special little emoji that shows up beside the hashtag. So I think that's what it's referring to. And finally it says, "The Marvel Universe is huge, but how far will Eternals go? I'm coming to collect."
Oh my goodness.
As quoted from James Corden.
Okay.
So this kind of implies that he is a Celestial, and in the plot of the movie, the Celestial is this divine being that created the Eternals, and also, spoiler alert, always spoiler alert with this podcast, but the Celestial has made the Deviants and the Eternals, which we will get into more later on.
Right. It now stands, is he a Celestial, or is he coming for the Celestials, or even the Eternals themselves?
See, that was the problem. It was a little ambiguous. I don't know if he was saying that to imply he, like you said, he is one, or it's like he's conveying ill intent.
Now, as far as we know,
I don't know.
This has not been sanctioned by Marvel. James Corden is simply going to invade this universe.
So he may be completely outside of that triumvirate of possible archetypes. He may be some dark version of a Celestial. I'm not sure. So I tried to clarify a little more.
Okay, good.
To no avail. I'm just going to say it up front. To no avail. The Plototron was not giving me useful information, but what it told me I thought was weird and interesting enough to bring up. So I then asked it, is James Corden a Celestial, Deviant, or Eternal? And this is what it said. And I don't know why it said this. It says, as the sexual shenanigans in the Chinese room go, what appears to be nearly 3 tons of man-o-war jellyfish, washerwomen, and other sea creatures swam by a few hours ago.
Washerwomen are sea creatures?
I do not know.
Maybe that's why they always live by the coast.
If you haven't watched James Corden's Leaning Tower of Hamsters monologue, then the above image may not make sense. Trust me, it's not going to make sense. There's no image either, so...
Leaning Tower of Hamsters?
Yes,
well, I think more like your internal image of what's going on in that situation.
Okay. If you have watched, then you know how odd and entertaining that monologue was. After watching the monologue, and as I typically do, when an actor or actress makes a reference to something celestial, I've begun to think about celestial bodies as deviant entities and it cut off, I think it had something else, but it was gibberish. Even more nonsensical.
Alright.
So it's saying deviants or celestials are deviants and vice versa, so it's kind of equating the two.
Maybe
the Eternals got completely dropped, and we still haven't got an answer for James Corden, but at least we know about his esoteric hamster monologue.
Yes. So I think he's a deviant celestial and not... just using deviant. In the
that's actually that actually makes a lot of sense.
Do you think he'll be in the sequel?
Oh well, yeah, they can't stop him.
Yeah.
Although weirdly enough, this movie did not do amazingly, which I think maybe we can discuss some. I've got theories, so I don't know if we're gonna see a sequel.
Well, it's easy. The theory is that Disney's just running tight on money that they can't.
What do you mean they're running tight on money?
Well, I mean, they can't afford as many critics as they could in the past, so, you know.
I see, you know, it's just a viable theory. I did try to ask it about this Leaning Tower of Hamsters monologue, and I got this long thing. It does not explain anything about that.
Okay.
I feel like this is something I saved the text, so I could read it at a later date. It's just absurdly long and goes nowhere, so I don't know if I want to bring it up in this episode. Maybe very short bonus material.
Our
We
podcast
could,
already rambles and goes nowhere, so that's kind of doubling up.
I'm trying to curtail it a little bit.
We could read it at the very end.
Okay, maybe,
And
sure.
that way if people want to listen to it, they can. If you want to skip it, go ahead.
Maybe
Sure, yeah,
a quick theory is that maybe the title to the thing of Leaning Tower of Hamster isn't.
Well, let's not
doesn't mean that it is about. Maybe it's like
metaphorical.
It's more like a nonsensical title to a nonsensical poem. But
Maybe.
I think we.
And I was gonna say up front, it is not going to reveal any answers about that monologue, and it's probably going to be very disappointing. But it is weird. So if you want to listen to that, stay tuned to the end. So yeah, let's get into
the trailer. Right?
the trailer. Yeah.
It's feeding time.
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 I also don't have my glasses, which is a very unfortunate oversight.
Okay, well, there's a girl and a horse.
No, I'm not that blind.
Do not narrate the whole thing. So there ends the trailer for Eternals.
They didn't really explain anything.
I mean, in loose terms.
It is a trailer, after all.
Yeah.
It's not a synopsis.
No.
I'm so used to trailers being that, though.
That is a fair point, actually.
Well, this was the final trailer, so I guess there might have been I probably should have done the earlier one. That might have given us more plot. But I already kind of know the basic plot structure of the movie.
Because you read
anyways.
Wikipedia.
Well, I read a couple of things.
So-
I watched reviews and stuff.
This is a minor point, and it could be your device, could not be, but the music was so loud compared to the vocals, I could barely hear anybody.
They weren't really
Yeah.
saying anything.
I mean, that's
So-
honestly a problem with modern audio mixing, I've noticed.
Yeah, so the big question was, why didn't they stop Thanos at the time?
Okay, so there is an answer for this. That's been one of the biggest questions because
Right.
within the narrative of Eternals, they are, as the name suggests, eternal beings created by a celestial to protect the planet from a race called deviants.
Right.
And again, spoilers. And the celestial originally made deviants to sort of kill off all the bigger dangerous creatures on Earth, I guess, before humans came around to get it ready. But then the deviants stuck around and evolved and became dangerous. And so the Eternals, they're like the police, a special form of the police, and they can only go after deviants, and they cannot interfere any other way.
Got it.
So that's why they didn't help with Thanos. But they also do interfere in lots of other ways because they've been helping guide our progress from the early days and provided us with technology and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's why is it okay for them to give us helpful things but not stop an evil purple man from snapping us out of existence?
Oh, I just hate humanity deep down
Especially
inside.
because I think the whole point is the celestial is gonna use all of us to birth another celestial. I think that's what they do. They go from planet to planet, they grow a bunch of humans, then use the humans' energy to grow another celestial. So half of us getting annihilated does not help. He's gonna get half a celestial. It's gonna be a pair of legs.
Yeah,
birth.
that's true.
So this is basically just the plot of Dead Space.
Well,
Sure,
and Naruto, and I think Warcraft 3,
most fantasy
kind of
sci-fi
Warcraft 3,
stuff.
or
Yeah.
not Warcraft 3, but Warcraft universe. Sorry.
Yeah.
Kind of.
If they need that, then why don't the Celestials just come down and just make a whole bunch of more humans out of thin air and just...
Well, wait, did the Celestial make
Did they make,
us?
or did we just evolve? I see. I'm still.
Does he just
shaky,
he just waits around till a planet's ready to evolve or people are ready
I think
to
that might have been
sprout?
why he cleared out all the dangerous creatures with deviants, so that humans could evolve.
I mean,
If I didn't have to call them deviants, make that a con.
Why?
All I can think of is
I know. Wait a second. I just,
diaper wearing furries running around.
Yeah, I don't. That's all I think of. I just think of these perverts and stuff, and just we gotta kill all the deviants. I'm like, oh, hang on there a second there. So that's one. Isn't that a name they could have updated?
Yeah, they turn out to tearing through a Folsom Street Fair parade or whatever.
We know.
Whoa, come on, Charles. Not cool, not PC at all.
You can cut this out, but I think we know how Sodom and Gomorrah went down.
Yeah, the Eternals. Maybe that's where the Bible stories came from.
Yeah, they came down oh, look at all these deviants. They just... Not a good name.
Yeah, it's a little odd.
They're at least Greek or Roman, apparently.
And also, why are they even called deviants? Like, where are they? Do they explain that, or where are they deviating from? I mean, if they're originally there, then
well, maybe because they deviated from their original goal of just wiping out the original predators, because they evolved and became, I guess, sentient enough where they want to.
Wait, did the Celestials create the deviants?
Yeah, I believe that's the case.
Oh.
So it said.
He made the deviants that made the Eternals to fight the. It's like you make one invasive species and introduce another invasive species to kill them, and then it's like.
Why didn't the Celestial just kill the deviants himself? Because it's like, this isn't working.
Well, look, I don't know enough about the nuts and bolts. I just know the broad strokes. So.
I don't like the name, like I said.
Yeah.
It's such a minor point, though. The Celestial, he just seems really lazy or hands off.
Maybe he's like. He goes along with like deist theology, or he's like the blind watchmaker, where he sets it up and he tweaks it, and maybe he'll introduce something, but he's mostly hands off.
Yeah, but I mean,
there's no reason for him not to be.
Think about it. He's just waiting for these planets to form, and then for not human beings per se, but beings to come up, so he can. Wait, why is one? If there's already dangerous creatures there, why wouldn't they work?
I don't know enough about it. I don't know if it's a particular life force he needs.
It just seems
humans have a special quality that he has to harvest.
Humans always have special.
There's also a chance I could be getting this wrong in some regard, because again, I have not seen the movie. None of it's
right. So I haven't even seen the comic it's based off of.
Yeah.
At least for now,
it's confusing.
The Celestial, he's not really. I don't know. He just doesn't seem very good at his job.
He's very lazy.
I guess I can make that a con.
Yeah. The Celestial, he really probably needs to be let go.
He's fired from being a god.
Or at least their structure, or like their internal processes really need to be looked at and kind of reevaluated. So I think their company could definitely use an audit.
Right, I agree. I don't know. The thing is, I do like the concept of this movie. And the plot, like these immortal beings who've been around forever, they've been kind of guiding humanity, and then suddenly something goes wrong and they have to deal with it. I do like that. I don't know, I never got a good vibe from any of the trailers. It always looked bland. Like, even more bland than your average Marvel movie at this point.
Yeah, they're phoning it in.
There's just that feeling of phoning it in.
And people have talked about
it's just me.
I feel like there's a huge, DC vibe that you get from it.
There is more DC vibe.
Well, I'm just saying that, Justice League, Wonder Woman, the way those look and the way those play out, it's got that same visual style, I guess.
Yeah.
And it normally doesn't lead well to, I don't know, usually when it has that look, it's normally not very good, but, maybe my own bias.
Yeah, it seems like at this point, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but they're so far away from typical superhero fare that it becomes just kind of a big, bloated fantasy movie. But there's a type of fantasy movie where, everything's, really nondescript and just generic looking. And it's all very big and bombastic, but it just does not stay with you. And I don't know how to put it in words, but I guess maybe like fantasy movies you might see in the mid 2000s.
Oh yeah, those things.
Kind of like a limited budget, stuff that maybe not this bad, but stuff that friggin' Uwe Boll would make, like that. Jason Statham played a character named Farmer, and Ron Perlman was in it. Stuff like that, where it's just such gray soup fantasy.
Oh, kind of what was that called? MST3K did it, where it was Renaissance. They're trying to find Leonardo's stuff.
The Quest of the Delta
That's
Knights.
right. It's stuff like that, where it's all schlarky and...
Schlarky? Well, that's a new
No, okay.
It's this new word, it's schlock and malarkey. It's schlarky.
That's schlarky.
Yeah.
Well, kind of, that schlarky. Kind of that schlarky, just throw everything in, because, in that movie had people wearing, Roman helmets and then, Viking horn helmets. It's just stuff like that. It's just...
Yeah, I'm not even talking about, hodgepodge. I'm just saying where nothing really stands out.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just...
It's real gray.
Yeah, it's gray, and someone was saying, it was it just felt like actors, you could really see the sound stage. It just felt like actors on a sound stage waving around and killing amorphous dog lizard men, not even men, just dog lizards, because they're not even like bipedal.
Yeah, it's like going to like a Broadway play, just sitting there. There's the stage, or just a play in general. You know, they're just sitting on their little stage, and they're it doesn't really feel like a movie.
It's like the Star Wars kid, you know, just flailing around in a spear and you know is kind of disconnected from the action.
And
I don't know. It just might be because I'm tired of these movies.
And you are right. Yeah. It is very gray. A lot of gray mist everywhere.
It depends because
very muted.
Marvel's kind of fallen into the categories of it's just another Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, it's nothing like a Marvel movie. Thus, it's bad. So they're like, you know, and maybe it's more because the Marvel movies are solid. You know, you can't really you can complain that they're generic, I guess, or you know they're all samey.
That's the point.
But if it deviates, then there's like greater chances that it'll go bad.
Yeah.
I guess there's also a chance they'll be
and then
the
elevated
Twinkie of the film world.
And if it deviates too much, and they gotta kill them.
Who?
Well, I'm just saying if it deviates too
much.
much,
I see. No, that's a good point. Yeah,
that's true.
If a director. That's why they got rid of like Edgar Wright. He was trying to deviate too much from the original plan.
He became a deviant.
Yeah, for Ant-Man.
So they showed up and killed him.
Well,
the Eternals did.
I don't know how he directed a new movie. I guess they gave him a strong talking to.
No, they killed him. They resurrected him.
Okay, sure.
And they just said, if you do that again, we will show you the kiss of death once more, and you might not wake up. I don't know what their powers are.
Yeah, I don't either. And that's another thing. And speaking of which, we're in dynamic discussion.
Oh yeah.
That's just the running gag where we always forget to mention that segment. And that one doesn't even need really description. It's just we talk about the movie. That's it. We don't even have to name it, really. At this point, it's too funny to stop. But yeah, that's another problem I feel is the cast is just way too big. And it's weird that Marvel's having this problem because they kind of crack the code of like give almost everyone a movie before you bring the team together. But well, like, here's a team of 42 random people with all kind of similar armor. Have fun.
Yeah.
You know?
They all seem to have similar powers, too, like making glowy weapons and stuff.
Yeah. So one person can shoot fire out of his hands. The other person can shoot fire out of his eyes.
Ooh, wow.
At least from the trailer.
What unique characters that stand apart from each other.
Well, that was the thing in that I think it's Icarus. The guy who can shoot fire out of his eyes, he's Superman. Yeah, and that may have been true with the original. Well, it's not really much of a complaint.
He's Icarus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they all have it's like a hodgepodge of god names.
A little bit.
Because I pulled a list of the characters.
Icarus wasn't a god, he was a man with hubris.
No, I know. It's funny. Luke has like the gift of an unintentional foresight.
Yeah.
Because he's, spoiler alert, Icarus is the bad guy, or he is a bad guy.
He flew too close to the sun.
Yeah. Luke's cursed to be blind of his own premonitions.
We'll get into that.
I'm the oracle.
A little bit in rando reviews.
Yeah.
So keep your ears open.
So yeah, I guess I can go through the list.
Yeah, let's go over them.
Alright, yeah.
How many are there, anyways?
I want to say like.
Isn't there 13?
Okay, yeah, I knew it was double digits.
Okay, I was right.
Let's bring it up. So this list is from Comic Book Resources? It's CBR.com. I forget what it stands for. But
Comic Book Resources?
I think so. Anyway, it's CBR.com. The Eternals, main characters ranked by likability.
Oh, they did rank.
Yeah. Eternals has one of the most interesting casts in the entire MCU. It's debatable. But awkward pacing keeps certain characters from being as likable as they should. Well, there's not enough screen time.
And two, there wasn't... Where they're walking... It's kind of awkward to walk on, so that their pace probably isn't going to be 100% all the time.
And two, they're afraid of the makers, the giant worms, so they have to make their pace.
I saw them walking on that rocky beach. They're all kind of it's so awkward pacing. It happens to the best of us when the ground's uneven.
It's the arrhythmic pacing of the Fremen. This is a good. And when everyone watches Doom, you're gonna get all my Dune jokes. Okay.
Oh, okay. We've been talking about Dune.
Yeah. Well, that's in Dune. You have to walk in a non-normal way, arrhythmically, so that worms think it's just normal surface sounds and not a person walking. Because they can tell when a person's walking.
Is that where the Hobbit got their giant worms?
Sure, although I'm pretty sure that the Hobbit came out way before Dune did.
All right.
But, okay. So, let's go through. And there's the dogs. I gotta have their cameo. 10. Icarus. I don't even care anymore. I don't even know if it's picking it up, but every time I try to talk, the dogs bark. 10. Icarus kills his longtime leader and friend. Again, spoilers. So yeah, Icarus, the Superman knockoff guy who destroyed a table because he thought it might be made of vibranium, which I guess he's not a very smart immortal.
Well, it's the
he
problem
hasn't gained
was,
any knowledge.
the problem was that he flew too close to the sun and smashed the table.
Yeah.
I think he fried his brain.
He flew too close to his assumptions and
Yeah, and smashed the table.
So yeah, he's one of the strongest, which is unfortunate. He goes bad. He has strength, laser vision, and flies. So yeah,
he was one of the weakest. It'd be a very short movie.
well, that was the plot of Space Wars or whatever. I can't.
Which one?
Huh?
Is that an MST3K movie?
No, I can't say it because there's.
Oh right, yeah, Stellar Combat.
Yeah, Stellar Combat. That was the plot of Stellar Combat.
Yeah. That's for our new listeners. That's an inside joke where we don't say the name of a very popular franchise involving laser swords and telekinesis. So yeah, Icarus, he's a bad guy. He's not very likable. He apparently kills Salma Hayek's character, Ajax. She's named Ajax. See, they're all over the place with where they get names from because Ajax. Or maybe I'm thinking of Ajax.
It's Ajax.
Yeah, but she's Ajax, so is it just like a slight?
Yeah, they tweaked it.
Because it was a warrior in the Trojan War.
Yeah,
he's not even a god.
Right.
Icarus isn't a god either.
Icarus isn't a god.
Yeah.
So that's actually an interesting kind of inside joke. Like, the non-gods are killing each other.
I guess so. Okay, the 9 on the list. Sprite betrays her teammates for the man she loves, and Sprite is the one that's trapped in a child's body.
That's right.
Yeah. Which, that's what I wanted to get into, but I know it's probably going to be mildly controversial. Why the Celestial made them the way he did in certain regards. Like, why would you make one that's permanently a kid, unless that was some screw-up independent from what he did?
Well, again, we've already established he's not very good.
Yeah, he's not good at his job.
He's not good at his job. He's massively incompetent, all right? He got it through his connections. You know, maybe his father kind of set him up with the position.
Yeah, nepotism in the celestial workplace is very prevalent.
Good grief. This is...
On account that no one really dies.
Some of these guys are more nefarious than I thought. Then there's Druig.
Wait, more nefarious than 10 Icarus who just murdered
Well, unless there's context, it says Druig mind controls humans in a pacifistic form of slavery.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's, if we want to rank them, murder, horrible, terrible. He's the worst ever. Mind controlling humans and enslaving them?
No, that's number 8, right?
Yeah.
So number 9 is... Her only thing
she does betray. I mean, I guess it is fair.
I guess is betrayal worse than just massive slavery, though?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's...
How big was her betrayal, and what does that mean? Was that simply a betrayal of, like, the code?
Well, let me read the article.
Okay,
I'm realizing no, it's not your fault. I'm realizing I'm just skimming over it too much. Okay. Going back to 9, Sprite betrays her teammates for the man she loves. Fighting for a loved one is the most natural thing in the world, and that's exactly what Sprite does in Eternals. Despite being trapped in a childlike body, she has powerful romantic feelings for Icarus. Okay. When he seeks to protect Tiamat's emergence, Tiamat, I guess, Tiamat is the new celestial being born. While her dedication is admirable, one cannot help but feel that a decision to stab Cersei, who is our main character, is motivated by jealousy. She also doesn't seem to care that much about the fact that Icarus killed Ajax, despite how affected she was upon seeing Ajax's body. Her choice may be understandable, but it doesn't make her very likable.
Wait, she's not a traitor, though.
What do you mean?
She's making sure that Tiamat is born.
No, but that's a bad thing, because that's going to...
No, but I'm speaking that technically...
From her perspective, I see what you're saying.
She's not a traitor. She's fulfilling her prime directive.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's actually everyone else...
So it depends on your perspective.
So
they're technically the traitors.
They're technically in the
it's
wrong.
like real convoluted, naughty morality here. But
I'm not even saying it's good. I'm just saying from the point of view.
No, I get you.
Honestly, wiping out all of humanity, I'd say that's a pretty good act.
I mean,
little millennial humor here.
Yeah, nihilism.
The thing is, the world's gonna end anyway, so might as well.
So, okay, back to Druig's mind control. No matter how one looks at it, a mind control power is highly questionable from a moral perspective. And yet, that's exactly the power Eternal Druig wields. I don't know how to say it. Ironically, the skill is useless against deviants. See, this Celestial
What did I
gets worse
say?
and worse
What-
at his
what did I
job.
say?
It makes a guy that can't fight the people he's made to fight. Good job.
What did I say?
Wait,
This-
who is the Celestial? He needs to be fired.
All I can imagine is like Wally from Tilbert.
Like,
Kick it
is
back.
Wally the Celestial then?
Yeah, that's what it seems like. So,
I mean, what a
but
child.
his skill is strong enough to mind control every single human on the planet. Witnessing the numerous wars started by humanity, Druig struggles with Ajax's enforced policy of non-interference. When the Eternals finally go their separate ways, he ends up in Peru, where he mind controls humans in a pacifistic form of slavery. His desire to protect humanity from itself is understandable, and his affection for Makari elevates him as a character. But enslaving people is still not a very likable thing to do.
Really now?
Very naughty.
And then 7, Ajax's wisdom and leadership stand out as remarkable despite her deceit. She hid the fact that they were basically cultivating a garden of humans to one day cull and use up.
Wait, why did Icarus kill Ajax then?
Because I think she
Was she going against the Prime Directive?
she turned at the end.
Okay.
And that's why he killed her.
Which seems weird that the person who was in on it from day one has been fine with it all the way up until this point.
Yeah.
No longer wants to do it. Icarus, who seemingly has found out about it recently, is like, okay, this is our mission now. Kill, gonna do it. It's just
I don't know if he also knew from the start.
Okay, maybe.
And she got like cold feet at the 11th hour. She's been here for thousands of years.
She was, she was debating back and forth. It takes
Got distracted. She went to Paris for a couple years.
Yeah.
She went back to college. By the time she got around to it, she's like, I don't feel good about
Listen,
this.
these Celestials are just merely a reflection of their creator.
You mean the Eternals?
Yeah.
The Eternals. Very stupid.
Yeah.
Just,
Okay, 6. Kingo's acting career adds a... Oh, okay.
What?
I thought I was going to say Kingo's acting, but apparently I guess he's an actor in the universe. Kingo's acting career adds a much-needed dose of lightness. If there's one character who stands out primarily for his likability, it's Kingo. His energy projection ability isn't that special, considering the skills of his fellow Eternals, but he compensates by adding a much-needed dose of lightness to his story. His career as a Bollywood actor is a source of hilarity.
Oh, God.
While this doesn't always suit the serious tone of the movie, it fits Kingo and it makes him a joy to watch.
A sick man created the Bollywood industry.
5. Makari could have been the best character in the movie. She's the Eternal Speedster. And she's the deaf one, which is what I kind of want to get into too, because it goes
Let's go do it now.
yeah, like I guess the deaf community is going to disown us, so they probably won't hear the episode, no pun intended. But if you're a Celestial, why would you make one of them deaf unless she lost her hearing? But I don't see that anywhere.
It could have been a war wound, but if we know anything about our Celestial Wally, he makes weird decisions.
Yeah.
And I think just for a laugh, he decided to take this one's hearing.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure, because like if you could argue like if her abilities had something to do with sight.
Unless what happened was, because she's moving so fast, the air pressure just
Blew her eardrums out.
He did not think about that at the time, how sensitive those things are. And so it just, after...
Well, it says her momentum can generate shock waves or waves of extreme force. Maybe those blew her ears.
That's what I'm saying. It was a design oversight. He created her. Yeah. She did her thing once and just blew her ears out, and that was it. Because after that, he'd left for some coffee, and he never came back. He took like a 3-hour lunch that day.
Yeah. So yeah, because then I was also going to say, if like her ability had something to do with sight, and you wanted to like enhance her sight or other senses, I could maybe see it, but
was it like Craig a character in a video game? I got lower hearing.
Well, I don't know how it
bump up
works.
sight.
Maybe you have so many stats.
Could work. Again, because there's already so many design flaws, we must use Occam's razor, I think, to realize that he's just a really bad designer and he's bad at his job. And I think that's kind of a con to the series, is that with all that power, he came up with some terrible designs, honestly.
Yeah, I don't... Well, that's also... I mean, I already have he's bad at his job. Is there another layer?
Well, just that the Eternals design as
The Eternals have bad design.
Yeah.
And two, why did you give them a bunch of different powers? Why didn't you just make them all like Icarus? That would have been easier.
I don't know.
Their whole point is to kill deviants and protect. I don't need any of that other stuff. Just make them all like
Do they
Icarus.
even need personalities?
No, they could just be automatons.
That's
I
what
know,
I'm thinking. He really...
Unless he was worried about they would also become another deviant if they didn't have
But
like.
the deviants became. Didn't they decide to make their own decisions? Isn't that what we find out? Is that the deviants aren't
Yeah, but
evil?
maybe I feel like maybe that's why he was trying to cut off at the past. He gives them like emotions and he makes
But then
them
those
more.
emotions just made them want to betray him.
Like there's no winning for him. He
Okay.
tried it both ways and got screwed over both times. But I was also thinking of another theory where the Celestial is a bit like a Hollywood producer nowadays, where he was trying to build the most diverse team he possibly could. So that's why they're literally every race under the sun. You've got deaf representation. You know, I think that he might have been coming at it from that angle.
What? So there's like diversity quotas in the celestial.
I would
workspace?
imagine.
Because he was probably thinking about in the future. He's like, these people, this team is going to be evergreen. Maybe he was thinking about the merchandising rights before, because he's got to make some money before he purges Earth. He uses the Eternals as like a money-making scheme, and he wanted them to be as diverse as possible to appeal to a wide audience.
Could be that. He might just be kind of the type of like idiot savant type thing.
Yeah.
You know, where he's a genius at like marketing essentially, but everything else.
Yeah, he's bad at the power
he's really
side.
bad.
Yeah.
You know, I really like this celestial is actually much more interesting
Yeah,
He's a great character.
than the Eternals, and we don't even know anything about it.
yeah.
He's a much more
He's
interesting.
just very
character.
tall.
I really want to figure out his thought process. He's
Yeah.
a very interesting character.
Okay, 4. Thena's struggle with mental illness makes her very human. See, we got one with these Eternals. They're just they're not fit to be. They got their own problems
If
to
I
deal
was
with. They
a
can't be out fighting deviants.
like-
They need to go to therapy.
All I would have done this is just if I was a celestial, I would have made a group of automatons, all the same like Icarus, with the same power. Have them activate when they detect a deviant. They activate. They go kill the deviants, and they go
turn off. That's
and then
a
they
good
turn
idea.
off.
Or at least have a kill switch.
Well, you see, that's why you're like,
Yeah.
you know.
Is that why I'm working in the mailroom and
Yeah.
I'm not up there, the big offices?
Well, see, you don't have the marketing acumen. You've got the engineering, the
Yeah,
practical
you got the
knowledge,
engineering,
but-
the practical stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have the artsy, emotional side.
Well, speaking of
what's the
Gilbert,
appeal?
everyone gets promoted out of the workforce so they don't become a problem. So he got promoted to the possible highest level of his ability, and he got stuck there.
Yeah.
Okay, so dealing with mental illness. The most experienced warrior of the Eternals, Thena, Angelina Jolie, falls prey to Maud Weary, a unique affliction that targets only Eternals.
Oh, good.
So now they got this personalized disease.
Did he come up with that as well? It was
Maybe that's how he tries to take him out.
Well, he got really drunk one day and actually came up with it. Yeah, he thought it'd be a great another marketing idea, but it didn't work.
What does she have?
It's a made up word, I guess. It's called Maud Weary. It's MAHD WY apostrophe RY.
Maud Weary?
Yeah, something like that.
Get her out of there! She's got Maud Weary!
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's a symptom of her mind fracturing.
Quaxuing?
See, it's a late night recording, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to get loopy. We're not going to be able to say words properly.
fluctuating.
Her mind fracturing under the weight of her memories. But in reality, it's caused by her memories being wiped imperfectly during her last mission to assist another... Okay, so she helped another Celestial emerge, and they had to wipe her in order to keep her working for them.
Okay.
So yeah, she's basically got Alzheimer's.
Oh no.
You know, so it's just stacking up. I can't believe these people are able to do anything.
Why would they even...
They're all psychopathic or
If this is an issue, just...
defective in some way. Or not defective. We're going to get in trouble for this. And this is not what I mean. I just mean this is not the kind of people you would make if you're trying to make like immortal, unstoppable killing team or whatever.
So every time that a Celestial is born, if they used them previously, they have to completely wipe their memory.
I would say just make another one.
Yeah,
another team.
You kill them, then you remake them.
Yeah.
The problem is there was probably some budget cuts. It was cheaper ultimately for the Celestials to simply recycle
I
it.
guess so.
Oh, there's
You know?
reduce, reuse, recycle.
Exactly.
Look, I'm not trying to insult anyone here
My question.
by what I'm saying. I'm
Really,
I'm looking at this objectively. If I'm a god trying to make a team
if you can,
that's good at fighting monsters.
if you can control, wait. Did the Deviants go wrong last time too? Because the Eternals already existed. At that point.
what were they?
So how long have they?
I think-
Wait, does this process just constantly repeat? They put the Deviants on the head. The Deviants always go wrong. That's why they have the Eternals. But the Eternals always betray them.
Sometimes.
After
It's like the
Celestials
Matrix.
born.
It just keeps looping.
Yeah.
I think Thena and Ajak are technically older than the rest, so maybe he had them around.
But they didn't wipe Ajax, or at least Ajax was privy to that knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, for some reason he felt like he could trust her. I don't know. Again, I have not seen the movie, and
This
this
is
plot
giving
is
me
apparently more
headaches.
complex than I thought. Okay, let's get through the rest of this list.
Yeah, I'm
There's
sorry.
Cersei, the main character. Her empathy helps her become a true leader.
Did she turn people
Blah,
into
blah,
pigs?
Yeah, it's spelled a little different, but yeah. So she's got a bit of a love triangle going on. That's a good marketing decision. I think they were trying to. The Celestial did that for
It does make sense when you look at the Celestial as a marketing person.
Yeah.
It does make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Gilgamesh, my boy Ma Dong-seok from Korea, from Train to Busan and other classic films. Gilgamesh's courage and protectiveness turn him into a true hero. He's got a cosmic exoskeleton.
On the inside.
He's very strong. He has a beautiful relationship with Thena, and he acts as both her anchor and a protector. His welcoming presence and wisdom give other Eternals respite after the tough experiences they've had to endure. And of course, they frickin' kill him. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. And then finally, number 1, Fastos. Why did they give the portly gentleman a name that sounds like Fatso? Are you kidding me?
That's a con right there.
I thought this guy was good at marketing. It frickin' ruins it.
You have an off day every now and again.
So he's the inventor. What is this with this picture? He looks like they woke him up at 3 a.m. to get this photo.
You're right.
He looks so bored. It's like he's embarrassed to be wearing this. I mean, I don't blame him, but like...
Or he also... He looks like he's been off like an 8-hour shift.
Yeah. So he's number 1. He's the inventor. He's a little... he's lost faith in humanity a little bit because he's seen like nuclear bombs going off and stuff, which... Stop that one, I guess, if you're...
Oh, wait, did they help us do that? Because apparently...
Right, yes, he shared the technology, and then we use it to make nuclear... So we can thank Fatso for warheads, I guess.
Yeah, thanks a lot,
So
Fatso.
what exactly did he give us? Just like the energy? And it was like, hey, and we just decided, let's turn it into bombs.
I don't know, maybe.
I mean,
it is the fifth. That's probably what happened.
That is what
That's
we
human
would
nature,
do.
yeah.
But that's just the funniest thing ever.
He's like he like taught us how to make a food processor, and we turned into a nuclear warhead before the year's out. You know, that's probably what happened.
It's pretty awesome, if you ask me.
So
So
So,
what
yeah,
I've
that's
taken
basically
from
it.
this is that the History Channel show Aliens was 100% correct.
Yeah,
Because we didn't accomplish, we apparently
I don't like
did not
that.
accomplish anything at all as humans ourselves. It's always aliens who have gifted us every single
Yes, yeah.
thing. So,
Yeah.
The wheel.
so I think, I mean, it's kind of a pro-con, but, you know, the History Channel Aliens had a big impact on
Yeah, I guess so.
where it was correct. Are there any pros we've found so far? I feel like there might be. I mean,
Can we put...
I'm kind of going back and forth on the Celestial now. Because after what we found out, that...
Well, that's a pro. He's a marketing expert.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a marketing expert. He's
Yeah.
just in the wrong area.
Yeah. There needed to be a more engineering minded
There needs to be an
Celestial.
engineer with him, but he like budget cuts probably.
he kind of reminds me of like a Walt Disney as
Yeah.
character. You know, he's like magic and you know
That's kind of weird.
create my own city, you know, and all that, and it's not really that well thought out
Well,
in the end.
Maybe
but-
it is Walt Disney. Like the clouds part and Walt Disney just sits and goes, "Hey, I'm gonna birth another one."
Okay, so there's...
Also, can we put the
Is there
fact that
10
they
of
made the portly gentleman, as you put it,
Yeah.
they called him Fatso.
Well, it's Fastos.
Fast. Well,
I'm sure that's his name. in the original comic.
Yeah.
So it's not really their fault, but
It's an unfortunate coincidence. And I was doing the math, just going by this list. Only 3 out of the 10 Eternals is like non-problematic, or it doesn't have an issue of some kind. So it's not good odds. But I guess we could say that. I mean, the deaf girl seems fine. She just can't hear, which I guess she can still do her job. But so I would say 3 or 4 out of 10.
By not being an engineer, not bad if you ask me.
Yeah.
He always looks like he's lost or confused.
I know.
It's a random, for context of what I showed them, it's just a random photo that somebody has put together where they've put Fastos over, like, a nuclear mushroom, basically.
Yeah.
And he's, like, looking at it.
I just don't think he photographs well. It's like me trying to take photographs. So I don't even know if that's a pro, because that's 3 or 4 out of 10. There's, like, over 50% of them have issues. Let's do 3 because she can't even hear the deviants coming.
May be a little out of his control, because when you have essentially like a piece of machinery that's been going 1,000 years, they might have a hiccup fair. Every now and again.
Yeah, the fact they've lasted that long.
The bigger issue is that it seems like from the get-go of creation, they've had a lot of hiccups already. So it's not. The time is not helping them, I would say.
And 2, there's another question I had. Are the Eternals are technically bad?
Yes.
Because the deviants just want to live.
Right.
And they were created for this awful purpose and then just taken out when they're no longer useful. So the Eternals are just like, I don't know, this evil like kill squad that's been sent out to...
From what I understand, that's the point, is that at the beginning you think it's just a black and white thing, the Eternals are good, the Deviants are evil. You then find out, I'm not going to hear any complaints about this, what I mean by that is, you then find out the Deviants aren't evil, in fact the Eternals are bad because they are helping the Celestial kill all of humanity.
Okay, so it is nuanced.
Yeah.
So I guess we can do a pro.
No, but then the black and white just changes size.
Differently. But still, it's nuanced because they are big monsters that are probably causing problems, but they have an understandable reason or backstory.
Right.
And the true villain is this
the
unfeeling
nuance
Celestial.
more, Luke, is that the Eternals now have a choice.
Yeah.
Because as good and evil, it depends on their perspective.
From my point of view,
of whether is the Celestial ultimately the greatest good or is he the greatest evil, and that decision will then prime them for their decisions.
I just wonder why why do we need more Celestials? Like, is that just how they're born, and it's like he's just fulfilling some biological urge to make more, or is it?
I mean, could be. I mean, he's not necessarily
if
evil.
we think about it, is it evil when the tiger eats the...
Well, see, that's why it's nuanced. Is the Celestial bad, or is he just doing what Celestials do?
Is it bad when the tiger creates a bunch of deer to go kill other deer
to kill the rabbits,
and then he creates a bunch of squirrels to protect the deer until he comes back?
I mean, it's a good question, and it's possibly the weirdest animal show I've ever seen in my life. It was very entertaining, though. It's on Netflix. It's called The
Birth of a Tiger. That's why there's so very few of them. They have a very long and complex mating process.
Well, I think...
It's like pandas. That's how pandas are born.
Unless we have anything else to add, I think we should get on to random reviews.
I agree. We've been languishing in the desert of dynamic discussion long enough.
As we always do.
And you never know when you arrive at the desert till it's too late.
To show up.
So, random reviews, just a quick overview, is pretty much to its name. I have found random people on different review sites. I normally stick to Google and IMDb, and I clip them and I read them here.
Yes, they provide some helpful insight into the movie.
They do.
Which we cannot watch ourselves.
So this one's really long, so I am going to skip around a little bit.
Okay.
So it's not fully coherent, but it's fine. I mean, it's not...
They're rarely coherent anyways.
Well, that's not what I mean, but it's just like, if you find the review yourself, there'll be more to it, is all I'm saying. Yeah. So we'll start with Sub-Zero Gravity, 7 out of 10. It is a satisfying movie. I'm still waiting for that X-Men movie, man. not too familiar with the Eternals.
There's been a lot of those.
Which is why going into this, I was thinking they were like mutants, the same way the Inhumans are like humans. With that said, like the Inhumans, the Eternals cannot beat what Charles Xavier and his misfit crew put together.
Okay. So his whole review is that it's not the X-Men?
I guess so.
That's a con right there.
So
it's not the X-Men.
The Eternals are like mutants, but they're not like the Inhumans that are like humans.
The same way the Inhumans, which I think are the X-Men, are like humans.
Well, there's a team called the Inhumans.
Yeah, there is.
Which I think by definition they would not be humans.
Yeah, I mean,
they're inhuman.
The Inhumans are humans.
But the Inhumans are like humans as much as the Eternals are like the mutants.
This is an equation I can't parse
But
out.
it can't be what Charles Xavier and his misfit crew put together. So the Eternals on this scale are weaker than the mutants from X-Men. I don't. That doesn't seem correct, but according to Sub-Zero Gravity, it is.
I mean, they're not like mutants at all because they were designed that way.
Yeah. I mean, they may as well be because it's just people with powers.
Yeah.
When you get down to it.
Every single
People with powers and
the
also a gay allegory.
Says, once again, a Marvel movie is missing a good villain. They could have used one. As cool as the characters are, they did a lot of talking. Some of the characters like Kingo and Festus were interesting enough. I want to hear their story. I wish this held true for everyone, but it did not.
I do like the fact he's a Bollywood actor.
Plus, all the talking made for too many moments where I forgot what the purpose of their mission is. So even he is confused.
He's drowning, I would say,
in
too
dialogue.
much exposition.
But if you
like this podcast now.
But if you do watch a lot of anime, it shouldn't be that too much of an issue. Especially Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
And he basically concludes with he's glad he saw it on the big screen. And he akins it to Guardians of the Galaxy, where before seeing the movie, they won me over far better. Sorry.
Okay. So the Guardians won him over far better.
Yes.
Okay.
There was definitely less of them.
I skipped out a lot of what his review said.
So the equation is Eternals with the greater than sign pointing towards X-Men, and then greater than pointing towards Guardians, or I guess maybe Guardians and X-Men.
Well, I think
are on the same
two
level.
different things that he just liked the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'm trying to figure out this weird geek math equation.
Well, what it is going back to the actual equation, is that the Eternals are similar to the mutants, which is similar to the Inhumans, how they are similar to humans themselves, but
they're not. By definition of their name.
The mutants are stronger, according to him, than the Eternals.
And he also likes, independently, there's a separate equation where he likes the Guardians more than the Eternals.
So it's like power scaling.
I guess so.
The Inhumans can beat the Eternals. So therefore, the X-Men, which are better, can beat the. Never mind.
Okay, let's continue on because this might help us a bit.
Okay.
It's not going to.
No.
Obsessive Reader -58248. 5 out of 10. Okay, very middle of the road. Iron Man 2 was better.
Ouch.
I had heard about all the bad reviews, but I'm the optimistic type because I absolutely love the 2 Venom movies. Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
Oh my goodness, get him out of here.
He seems like the target audience for this.
I walked into the theater with very low expectations. I did the same with the Michael Bay's TMNT movies and actually enjoyed them, even though in reality they're both complete trash.
I mean, he's not wrong,
Okay.
but it's weird that he would he would not like TMNT, or he would think they're dumb, but somehow Venom gets a pass. To me, they're on the same level.
Yeah. Although
At least TMNT had a second act.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah,
I guess I'm thinking more of the second Venom feels more like a TMNT movie.
Continuing on, sadly, this wasn't the case with Eternals. The whole movie had the stank of pretense all over it. I did quite enjoy the Bollywood star Kingo, the angsty Peter Pan type sprite.
It's true.
Not wrong.
And
Wait, is she a Peter Pan allegory?
oh, maybe.
That's why she's
Red
right,
hair.
like Tinkerbell.
Yes.
Yeah.
The awesome but strangely sensitive Gilgamesh. I also thought the action sequence were quite cool. I jumped when the deviants swooped in out of nowhere and grabbed Icarus. Now, that being said, the pacing in this film was awful. I whispered to my wife, I'm bored on more than one occasion. What a lucky
take me
woman.
out of the theater, please?
Yeah, what a lucky woman. I'm bored. I'm bored.
He's probably not saying it like that.
No.
We're being unduly cruel
It's
to
still
him.
a bit weird to lead into the whisper like I'm bored. That's something you would save for the end. unless
Yeah,
you-
I didn't even say that during Suicide Squad. I was just dying inside for 2
I
hours.
still need to watch that.
I mean,
but
when you're saying that in the movies, there you either get up and leave or just you whispering in saying I'm bored. I don't know.
it doesn't stop there, guys.
There's no reason why you can't. We're kind of being
Mean.
overly critical.
I'm usually not the one to talk during a movie, but I don't think anyone cared because we all shared a hive mind when it came to
Fair
what we were watching. Which maybe he was mind controlled by what's his face.
Druid, yeah.
Druid
They all had a hive mind.
Druid was like vainly trying to get them to like the movie.
It wasn't
It was,
working.
it was in the theater, but even his mind control was the.
All he did was linked them together and
Well,
they're like,
'cause
bored,
that's
bored, bored.
That's
Amplified
because
it.
he was watching it and he was bored.
He couldn't even convince himself.
It was bored.
I don't have a problem when a movie is long. For example, Endgame is the longest MCU film yet, but it goes by like the snap of the finger, literally. This, however, feels like an eternity. Okay, I'm finished with the puns for now. I feel they would have replaced one of the boring characters with Patton Oswalt's Pip the Elf, who shows up in the mid-credit scene. I would have enjoyed the movie a lot more.
What? Patton Oswalt plays an elf in the mid-credit scene? Is this true?
I don't know. Patton Oswalt. Who's Pip the Elf?
I don't know.
Look that up.
Patton Oswalt.
Closing argument. Don't even bother redboxing it. Definitely
Pip
don't
the
buy
Troll.
it. Not even on Black Friday. Wait till it's free on Disney Plus.
This is real.
It
It's
is?
not an elf, though. It's Pip the Troll.
What?
Who the crud is Pip the Troll?
He's got his own Wikipedia page.
Oh my goodness, he must
Pip the Troll is a fictional character appearing in the American comic books published by Marvel Comics. He shows up in Eternals, so it's just a troll. In the mid-credits. They are just getting so esoteric with it now, which I kind of appreciate. I thought he was making a joke, but no. Patton Oswalt as a troll shows up. Okay.
Wow.
So, for that, I think one con, it stank of pretension. And
I love that.
not even Druid could convince the crowd to like the movie.
Yeah.
Because he was being affected by
Yeah.
it.
Alright. Then we're going to move on to Grim Sanji. 1 out of 10. Disgusting. Marvel must get rid of this lame formula, cheesy jokes every 5 minutes in every freaking of their movies.
Amen.
I always hard/read craps like Marvel is better than DC. Marvel rules. MCU is better than DCU. Better at what? At making money from kids and silly adults? Of course. The way Marvel is praised by so many people will make me lose the faith in humanity. 95% of Marvel movies are terrible, childish, and they say DC/DCU suck. DCU
I mean, it does.
one of the best superhero movies. Fact.
Wait.
I liked Logan so much. I liked Old Hulk so much. But that's it.
Okay.
This new movie. So, out of all that, he likes, what, maybe 2 movies? So, apparently for him, as long as there's 2 good movies, it's okay.
Well, it was because that was the party line for a long time, and I agreed with it. Where Marvel produced better and more effective movies than the DCU.
Yeah, I mean,
Right up until
I still
Endgame,
kind of agree with that.
I agree fully.
Even some of Marvel's worst is better than DC's best. So.
Yeah. I mean, DCU is kind of... they've kind of done better, and they've also tanked a few times recently. Because, like, Aquaman did pretty well, and I heard it was pretty enjoyable, and Shazam wasn't bad. But, like, Wonder Woman 2 just completely came in and just threw up all over herself and just, committed sexual assault.
That's what I mean. That, like I said, that Marvel's worst is better than...
Yeah, no, I can...
So, yeah.
I mean, Marvel's got some stinkers.
I mean, they do. I'm
From,
not denying
I
that.
don't even know if I've seen the ones that I've heard are really bad, but...
They're probably bad.
Just assume. I don't want to abuse myself with these. Holy cow, we're going long.
Yeah, we're going really long. Which is why I'm skipping ahead. He just didn't like it. He gives it a thumbs down.
Yeah. See, I read a big article. That was my.
Yeah, we
downfall.
really did.
But I think it gave us a good insight into the...
No, it was useful, but
This one's really long, but again, I'm going to skip through.
We're making up for November.
yes.
Aubrey Hale, we're back to Google. 3 out of 5 stars. TLDR, so nice. We have a little.
And we're gonna
the movie was just Marvel meets the Justice League meets the Iron Giant with an itty-bitty sprinkle of Greek mythology.
Hey.
The Iron Giant.
That's all the review you need.
Yeah, but I thought this was
because like the Celestials look like they are.
This is the part that really drew me to this review. I laughed when Icarus flew into the sun because of how absurd the scene was. He didn't have wings. He had no reason to even fly himself into the sun. The real story of Icarus doesn't even depict him flying into the sun because that would have been impossible. He flew too high and his wax wings, which his father made for him, melted and he fell into the sea and drowned. Not sure how that story tied in the movie or this character at all. Perhaps there's some sort of message that I'm just not getting from that. Gilgamesh made zero sense whatsoever. Why was he named Gilgamesh? Why was he doing reference to Gilgamesh? Was he a king? We'll never know.
Okay, we got a mythology nerd over here.
Yeah.
He's over here just like, when did Gilgamesh sit down and go, all right, I'm going to write some laws now?
It's a really long review as well.
That's fine.
That's all I got out of that.
It's called a reference, sir. I mean, I know it's dumb, but that's why he flew into the sun, because his name is Icarus.
The sun had to be involved at some point.
Yeah. They just all have random god names because I think maybe the point is they've been around so long, maybe they've kind of inspired these stories.
And so
history.
this man melted his wings and drowned.
Yeah, which his doesn't make much sense.
It doesn't,
because he's like the most powerful, and he's named after one of the most hapless characters in Greek mythology.
Wouldn't it make more sense for him to be like Helios or something,
or Ares, or
or maybe another person with hubris?
Yeah.
Pick your Greek tragedy. There's a lot of them.
Apollo would be better.
Yeah. Well, Apollo's Roman.
Then continue on.
No.
I mean, they're the same. You just take the name. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's
Maybe
Greek.
Mars, right?
No,
Not Mars.
Help! We're all confused now. It doesn't matter. I'm going on to the next review.
We lost it. We completely lost it.
Next we have Vishaj VSB, 4 out of 5 stars. Loved the movie. Ending was sad as all of them banded together to kill a baby.
That's true.
I get pissed when my mobile or vacuum doesn't work properly. This movie is about useless machines that should be torn into parts and disposed by the owner, as they didn't just malfunction, but literally killed their maker's future generation. I wish Icarus well and hopes he disposes the malfunctioning products immediately. We found the engineer. We did it. We found him.
He's not wrong. I didn't think of that.
He's only saying what we're all thinking.
Because like we were also referencing, they were designed for this purpose. Went haywire, killed the event.
We got it on the money.
Yeah, they aborted the son of their maker as he was coming out of the birth canal. Hit him with a hammer, basically. This is a terrifying story. From the Celestials' perspective, this was like this horrible tragedy.
Oh, no!
Yeah. My son!
And you know what? Humanity has the gall to sit there and go, oh, he's cultivating us to eat us when we do that to animals all over the world. It's a bit hypocritical.
To be fair, it's a similar parallel. But yeah, the Eternals...
it just seems like there's no heroes in the story.
The Eternals killed a baby. That's a con.
Yeah, baby killers.
So
Icarus was trying to save them.
Yeah, if we think about it, Icarus and Sprite were not evil at all.
No.
By another... Well,
there is
going on to Giovanni Hernandez, 5 out of 5 stars. This movie gave me an existential crisis moment. As the movie ended, I couldn't help to only want more. Incredible casting, directing, and acting. A great kind of different. I simply want more. I wish I was a Marvel character man.
Okay, well.
Was that supposed to be like a Marvel character, comma man? Because I like the idea of him saying, I wish it was a Marvel character man. Better.
He just wishes he was a Marvel character man.
See, I like it better when you say it like
said
that.
Marvel character. The man was unnecessary.
I'm character man.
Then we have Karlmeister reviews, 5 out of 5. It was good, not really that bad as they say. They just watched it and drunk and fell asleep. Anyway, enough with those cruisers.
Wait, who did?
Anyone who reviewed it. or I assume.
Oh, okay.
So he's saying that people who didn't like it got drunk and passed out.
Yeah. The Eternals was packed with issues we faced in real life. In fact, happens not all the time.
Yeah,
Without the powers and talking to godly creature. No! Eternals has the top 2 spot on me next to Dune. It was just so good. People are just missing out.
Yeah, the normal average day of whether or not to hit a baby emerging from the ground with a big hammer.
It's packed with issues we faced in real life. In fact, happens not all the time.
The way they write these sometimes, it's like an ambiguous like scripture somewhere. You're like, I don't know what they intended by this, but we'll do our best to interpret it.
Then we have Guy Wolf, 1 out of 5 stars. Tripe, in 2 hours and 20 minutes of it. Story is as robust as a chocolate teapot, with acting as wooden as very wood things.
A chocolate teapot?
And the whole thing is stitched together by the blind school. Other than a beer with friends, trying to find a positive afterwards was nice.
He's one of the people that got drunk on. See, that previous review is right.
I love his thing. As robust as a chocolate teapot, with acting as wooden as a very wood thing.
It's like, that's such a weird sentence, because he comes up with possibly the weirdest
They
metaphor, and then just gave up for the second one.
Robust as a chocolate teapot does make
vague. I can kind of see it
kind
because it's immediately going to melt, so it's not robust at all.
It would have made more sense if he said it was more robust, like a Chinese teacup or something like that. Or like
What? That doesn't even make sense.
No, China glass pot.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I messed it up. I meant for
a
fragile.
Chinaware
still
glass.
A Chinaware glass.
Yeah.
I mean, but he's like chocolate teapot. I mean,
It makes sense, but it's
very esoteric.
Wood is a very wood thing.
Bit of a reach.
Whole
So,
thing's
is it a con that it drives people to drink, apparently?
yeah, and sleep through it.
Yeah.
And then we have, I think, with one of the most controversial reviews we'll read. Mahmoud, well, actually, that's not true. We have Oscar Albert, but Mahmoud Belakadar, 1 out of 5 stars. This movie was straight booty cheeks. It had a total of about 9 decent minutes. Green Lantern was a better movie. I need my refund right now. I am disappointed, hurt, and let down. Worst movie of 2021. I'd rather watch a full game of cricket than this nonsense.
Oh, wow.
Do not watch this movie. Wait till it gets on 1, 2, 3 movies and watch it for free. I hate it. I think somebody else called it booty cheeks as well, so that was kind of a theme.
Are they all wearing like tight jumpsuits?
So I didn't know how far I wanted to go into this, but I found like on IMDb there was like 9 or 8 reviews that were just duplicates, and I couldn't quite figure it out.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, they were almost exactly the same.
But on different accounts?
No, same accounts.
Oh.
Same person.
I feel like he kept posting it and thinking it hadn't gone up.
Yeah, but some of them were changed a little bit. I'm not sure. All right,
he didn't realize there was an edit button.
we're going to run through these really quickly, but this is the bottom of the barrel segment where I found these. I'm not going to even go over their names. I'm just going to read them back to back. So the first one is Eternals are eternal. Love it. It will never fail. Eternals are civilization. Eternals are history. I am so in love.
I think Druid got a hold of him and it worked this time.
Yeah. This is it. This person, Joel Diaz, straight buns. Here's one. Raul is too much lag. Main character's weak. I love that concept. There's too much lag.
Reviewing it like a video game.
Yeah, the ping's too high. And then
like a you problem.
Kaylin Kroger says 4 out of 6 if you're high.
Drink, sleep through it, and get high.
Yeah, Antonio Olvera says the old Godzilla was better. The worst Marvel movie. This person doesn't even know what they're reviewing.
I like how Jake said he wasn't going to give names, but he's
well,
just all
I just decided instead of saying 1, 2, 3. Akus says, why are people talking about watching the movies? But it's not out till November. Is something happening that we aren't aware of? This was 8 months ago. So I don't know what was happening then. I can't figure it out either.
I guess people were already reviewing it. That's happened, I think.
George says, Best film ever, even though the release date was last month and it's still not out. Woo! Can't wait for Avengers.
I think he missed them. A little slow.
That was also 8 months ago.
Can't wait for Avengers.
I still can't find where he's talking about the release date, though. I have no idea. Then it's Royce Parker. Not enough Iron Man or Superman, and why no Boom? This person has no idea what they're watching. And then Matea's Iron Man is twisting in his grave if he sees this movie. So my question there is, Robert Downey Jr. still alive? The character Iron Man would be a watching Eternal somehow.
Oh man, that's confusing.
Yeah.
Well, it's that classic, someone related to this would be so upset their corpse would be turning.
Okay. That was it for Rando Reviews. Remember, reviews change lives.
Yes, and that one, just watch the Captain Marvel episode titled Captain Larson.
Yeah. All right, and then moving on to Oscar Albert, who, a very short explanation of who he is he is a crazy person I discovered by accident on IMDb. And so now he has become his own segment because he is regular enough that he sometimes gets the movie we're talking about, but in this case, he did not review the Eternals. So instead, we're going to do a Oscar Albert Marvel Roundup.
Okay.
Because these are Marvel movies that we probably will not review on the podcast. So I'm good with reading them here, which they're Black Widow and Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Which one do you want first, Black Widow or Shang-Chi?
Let's do seniority, or we'll do Black Widow since it's technically older.
All right. So here's Oscar Albert's review of Black Widow. He gave it 8 out of 10.
Ooh.
While in theory, widows can be black, blue, white, red, yellow, or chartreuse, in practice they must share a mandatory prerequisite, a dead spouse. However, Black Widow provides no evidence that title character Natasha or the thousands of others in her allegedly grieving sisterhood ever enjoyed a single instant of wedded bliss. In fact, the younger sibling in Nat's an ad hoc household makes it a point to itemize how she was surgically stripped of the components necessary to become a bride during her training to attain her bogus widowhood status. In American, words have meanings. However, this film documents the fact that the Russian language consists of duplicity, prevarication, and lies. So if you're tempted to stop Russian dressing onto your salad, better think twice.
So he was just mad that they're misusing the word widow.
But she's named after the actual arachnid.
Yeah. But he still gave it 8 out of 10.
He enjoyed the movie. It's just, he could not get past the fact that the Russians would just, misuse the English language like that.
Okay. See, emphasis on Oscar Albert is a crazy person. Okay.
Do you think that maybe we could sue Disney for false advertising? She's not even married.
No, because she's named after a spider. Not an actual widowed person. Not a African American widow.
Yeah, but Disney, you just need to go, hey Disney, where is her husband? Why isn't he dead?
Oh boy.
Alright, then we go into Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. 8 out of 10, again. Mobile trees, magic rings, threatening dragons. Haven't we heard all this before? China is infamous for intellectual property theft, with 10 rings being a sterling example of such nefarious cultural shoplifting. Seldom credited with any originality beyond propagating germs of mass destruction. It would surprise no one if this outlaw band of grifters opened up a fast food restaurant chain tomorrow selling warm dogs and Chinese fries under some silver arches, allegedly respectful of elder tradition. Those on the sinus front have yet to realize that all that glitters is not gold. As Miss Stein famously observed, a bus is a bus is a bus, no matter how you slice it.
What even was his point there, other than they rip it's Chinese in origin and it ripped something off? What did it rip off?
He's Lord of the Rings. Mobile trees, magic rings, and threatening dragons.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was distracted. I didn't know.
Well, it took me just now to realize what he was actually referring to. So he's saying that Shang-Chi
This is the most like
10 rings.
nitpicky he's ever been.
Yeah.
This is the weird situation where, because normally he creates some weird political illusion or parallel, but here he like fixates on one aspect. Just because it has rings in it does not mean it's ripping off Lord of the Rings.
Mobile trees, magic rings, threatening dragons.
Oh,
I like how he went to say that there's going to be a Chinese McDonald's knockoff, and that McDonald's is like some elder tradition. It's just a fast food restaurant.
I think McDonald's is in China.
Yeah, but silver arches and warm dogs.
Yeah.
What are Chinese fries?
I don't know.
Those sound kind of good.
So I realized I had another review in here, and he's not Oscar Albert, so I have put somebody in the wrong segment on my iPad. His name is Trevor Chang Gun Lee, and he deserves mention simply because I did put him here, and he gave it an 8 out of 10 as well. Everybody's giving it an 8 out of 10. Can't imagine watching this movie without a 4D experience. You must watch it on 4D. What a fun experience. There was not much of a story, to be honest, in my opinion, but the cast and cinematography are great. I could not really take my eyes off during the entire movie. By the way, I'm a fan of Ma and Jolie. So I guess they had a 4D segment. So at one point,
it's good in 4D.
You know, he shoots laser out and like heat waves come out into the theater.
I thought he was saying
he
you
farts
need to watch it in 4D. Is he saying
Yeah, you must watch it on 4D.
Okay.
On 4D, not in 4D.
So a pro could be it's good in 4D.
Yeah.
But that's the
a monster gets punched, you get punched in the back.
Wait, is this the Eternals?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got a bit confused.
Well, he put the wrong review. He put another guy's review in.
Right.
But yeah, that was it for Oscar Albert plus the bonus review. There's not much to say after Oscar Albert other than just stunned silence.
Yeah, I was hoping he would go a little deeper into those films because
it was just getting nitpicky on the English language himself.
Yeah, and he was doing sort of a Kimba versus the Lion King connection.
He was. I mean, he was.
Except, but I wanted to bring up that everybody believes that the Lion King ripped off Kimba, but it didn't.
Right.
It's a long-held misnomer.
It's the same thing that people think that Shang-Chi ripped off Lord of the Rings.
That's what I'm saying.
They are fairly different movies, I would say.
Yeah,
I feel very comfortable with that assertion.
Yeah, I think so.
At no point in the movie does Simba run around wearing the dead skin of his father.
Yes, and also the fact that the Ten Rings is predominantly Asian people, which is not in Lord of the Rings as far as I know, unless they're Easterlings. So right off the bat, this is a pretty big difference, and it's in modern day. I mean, you don't have to dig too deeply.
Wouldn't modern day Middle Earth just be regular Earth, if that's what's implied?
I guess so. Is the implication that Middle Earth was in our past?
Yes.
I mean, basically, rather than get political, he was just mad at the Russians, and then he was mad at the Chinese.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that is true to form, because normally he's mad at the Japanese whenever Sony gets brought up.
He hates Sony, man.
Yeah. But this kind of dovetails off into another subject I kind of wanted to touch on about how, I probably mentioned it in previous episodes, how I've lost interest in Marvel movies, and how the recent glut of films like Black Widow, like The Ten Rings, just, I don't know, I have felt no inclination to watch them.
yeah, I think the only thing that's maybe got me just a little bit is that Hawkeye series.
Yeah,
on Disney Plus.
possible because I really like Hawkeye.
Yeah, I like Jeremy Renner, and Hawkeye is one of the best characters of the Marvel series, so I might give that a try.
Yeah, and the shows too, I don't know, I've heard various things that have kind of made me go like, I don't even want to bother, and it's just like WandaVision, where she's, I mean, spoilers for all this stuff, skip ahead, but like Wanda's like holding a whole town hostage essentially, but we're supposed to think that, oh, how wonderful, she let them go in the end and gave up her fake life. It's like, no, she's not a hero here. She enslaved the town and kept them in constant agony.
Did she murder someone?
I guess not, but
okay, she's fine.
Yeah, like that other guy. What's his name? Druig.
Druig.
Yeah, Druig. He was doing it in like Chile.
Yeah, I think, or Peru or something.
Peru.
Yeah, it was just, and then like Loki is like suddenly like super lame, and like I know he was always kind of a Weasley guy, but it's like they totally. he was the main bad guy in the first Avengers film, and now he's like just getting beat up by everyone that crosses his path. It's just they're doing all these little, I don't know. I feel like they're just kind of diminishing the characters from where they were in the movies, and it's just I don't know. I just don't have maybe not want to engage with it at all. But
now, what do you guys think? Just because we're here, what do you guys think of Spider-Man: No Way Home?
I'm interested only because they're throwing out the nostalgia bait.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm just like, oh, that's interesting.
Really got me. Mainly because the internet has turned like
Tobey Maguire into a meme god.
So that's what's got me really interested. Is Tobey Maguire actually in it?
People don't know. People think he might be. People say Andrew Garfield's in it. I think he's more likely.
Right.
But they're bringing back Willem Dafoe. They're bringing back
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, those are confirmed.
I suddenly forgot the name of the guy that played Doc Ock. That's going to drive me crazy.
Oh, Alfred Molina?
Alfred Molina. There you go. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm glad to see all them again. But, like, I'm not really interested in the movie itself. It's just
I just want to see...
It's like, hey, I know that thing. I like those characters from when I was a kid.
It's something I knew!
Yeah, it's just Mimberries or whatever they say in South Park. Rememberries.
But the thing is, will we get the Spider-Man from the Broadway play? Will he show up?
Yeah, he will. He'll just fall to his death immediately. We'll turn off the dark reference for you. If you haven't heard of that play, look it up. It's
hilarious.
A hilarious, tortured production. But yeah, I wonder how much of our audience kind of feels the same way about Marvel, if they're fully locked in. It was like immediately after Endgame, I was done.
Marvel fatigue.
Yeah, and it's...
Well, it was not even... I wouldn't even call it Marvel fatigue. It was just like, this is the conclusion, and I don't really see a point in watching anything else.
Yeah, and it's just the films have kind of become even more disposable. It's like, you don't get the impression that they're putting near as much thought as they were into them.
They don't have to anymore.
Yeah, it's just flavor of the week. This is... who cares if this movie's any good? There's going to be like 5 more this year, so, I know, I guess they've been too, like, homogenized to the point where there's almost no difference between it.
Except for Eternals, which is nuanced and different.
Yeah. Which is different, but it's, I guess, but in a...
Different but not good.
Yeah, in a different, horrible or dumb way.
Well, that's just... I mean, even the twist isn't even all that unique to Marvel. They've done it several times already.
Yeah.
That seems to be like,
it's kind of like Captain Marvel.
Oh yeah, same. It's actually basically the same plot.
Yeah, because everything you thought was true was
everything
a lie.
you know is wrong.
Yeah. Even though that they were trying to kill them and they were, forget it.
Well, I think we've we've
covered
this. So let's get on to Plototron. Right, that's the next thing.
Yes, and this is another application. This is the main application of the Plototron, where we actually ask it what happened in the movie, because as per the premise of the podcast, we do not watch the film, so we have to use every source we can. And the Plototron sometimes reveals interesting things about the movie, aka we think it just makes up garbage.
Well, a lot of times
the case.
He's trying to sell us like a subscription or something.
Yeah, or
the Plototron, or he tries to use up our words, so we actually pay him for more words.
Yeah.
Like, he's very insidious.
Because he starts shilling for the movie and says like, it's in theaters now. You know? So.
Because he's always getting a kickback from whatever he's trying to sell us.
Yes, that's our theory anyways. To be fair, a lot of this is like our personal lore. So I think we may be confusing the audience with what is true, what is not. But hey, that's for you to figure out. Okay, so I asked it, what happens in the Eternals 2021? And I've only kind of perused this, so let's see. The Eternals and the Deviants live together under one umbrella government called the Multiverse Super Ministry.
Okay.
MSS, which doesn't really make sense because it'd just be MS.
So, is that ultimately, I guess, is that the name of the corporation that the Celestials work for?
I guess MSS. It was created in the wake of the good Eternals' migration to Titan to prevent their planet from falling into the control of the bad Eternals.
Okay.
So this is an evil group of Eternals, which I thought the Deviants kind of classified as that, or qualified as that. With both groups now present, the MSS has increased its political influence as it attempts to reduce and manage the population of the universe.
Okay.
So,
So I guess that's why they're turning it into celestials. It's so that way overpopulation doesn't occur.
maybe that's why they
It's-
were fine with Thanos doing what he did.
Yeah, it's kind of like, refining it into something better, essentially.
I
You
guess
take
so.
out all the impurities and you get a celestial.
So they go around the planets and kill them. They have two populations too high because they might birth a celestial.
No, I'm saying that.
That's what it sounds like.
No, I'm
But
saying
they want celestials.
they want
That's their
celestials
purpose.
because think about it. If you take 1,000 people and condense it into one, the
Yeah.
resources go way farther. It's the same thing.
Yes.
You take 8
Oh, I
billion
see.
people, you condense it into one better being.
Maybe
than the 8
I'm just
billion people.
confused. Are the Eternals the same as Celestials?
No.
No, the Celestials made the Eternals.
Right,
At least within
Yeah,
the
but
lore
they
of the
didn't
movie.
say that the Eternals made their umbrella government, or
No.
It says they live together under one
Right.
umbrella government.
And so the Celestials run the umbrella government.
And two, we're confusing Luke because we're trying to figure out how the Plototron's lore fits into the lore of the movie. So a lot of moving parts.
I
here.
thought the Eternals made their own one world government.
No, they don't have to.
They live together under it, which I don't know
Right.
if the Celestials set it up or what. But okay, so what's interesting about the Eternal City on Titan is that it's underground and there are no natural predators such as bears, dinosaurs, or human beings.
Okay. So
The architects who built it apparently did envision one giant predator. In the year 2023, the high storms on Titan grow more frequent and ferocious as the Earth changes. See about halfway down.
okay, so there's a little bit of you got cross-reference your sources.
Yeah, the Earth had long ago lost its magnetic field. When the storms come, solar radiation, charged particles, and magnetic fields combine to form, and then that's where it cut off. So, it started trailing off into like how Titan works, or how Titan is affected by how Earth changes, and then started talking about how Earth has been changing.
Okay.
So, which I know is not the case, but this seems to suppose that Earth has been basically turned into a blasted wasteland.
In 2023, right? So 2 years.
Yeah. So
So this is like a future happening in 2 years from the
Earth-
Eternals.
but it says had
timeline.
long ago lost its magnetic field.
Okay.
So this is alternative.
We've
history.
learned. Listen, they don't tell you this. We've lost our magnetic field for a long time now. But just no one said anything.
And this is when storms come, solar radiation, charged particles, and magnetic fields combine to form. And it's going to form something. I don't know. They got off the beaten path there a little bit, but so that's some, I guess, insight into the film. The Eternals and Deviants live together, and I guess there was a fallout.
I mean,
don't know,
in a sense
falling
they
out?
do, seeing
Yeah.
as how the Deviants come first, then the Eternals.
Yeah.
This has happened multiple times, as we know, from previous wipings. So,
Yeah.
what we can gather from this, by taking that and taking what we know,
Mhm.
the Celestials have a corporation called MSS, right?
Yes, even though the second S makes no sense.
Right, it doesn't make any sense. And the Eternals and Deviants work underneath the corporation.
Mhm.
So that way they can deal with overpopulation of the universe, basically dealing with Thanos is doing,
Mhm.
except turning people into
To
celestials.
But it also says that the good Eternals
Right.
went back to Titan.
Right, so
So the bad Eternals, I guess, are on Earth with the Deviants?
so I'm assuming, and the problem you'd have to figure out is what counts as good or bad, as we have
Yeah.
figured out.
Yeah.
But the Eternals who betrayed the Celestials are either the good ones or the bad ones.
Maybe they're bad from the good. The good
Right,
Eternals
so-
are the ones who follow the
So the
Celestials.
one who fled to Titan would be the good Eternals
We're
who
gonna
betrayed
teach a class in
betray-
eternal theology.
who betrayed the
theology or
Celestials,
philosophy.
and the bad Eternals work underneath the Celestials.
Eternal
because-
ethics.
Because the good Eternals fled to Titan.
Yeah.
And then I assume Earth eventually fell to being either the failed attempt of the celestial creation destroyed the Earth, or they eventually succeeded in making a celestial.
Wow. I bet if they destroyed the Earth, stopping the Celestial, what a waste, man.
I know. So I think that's might be a pro.
I would say very deep lore. It's kind of like Dune. There's a
Yeah.
lot to dig into. No pun intended. Dig into a sand dune of lore.
I'm sure
going to beat you to
you could find like a 3-hour essay on YouTube just going over all of this that we talked about.
Yeah.
somewhere. Well, even if we have to make it.
This counts as the 3 hours seminar or whatever.
It'll start when 1965, back when, or 1943 with the World War II and all that joke.
It would technically because you could start there because they were involved in like the bombing of Hiroshima.
In Nagasaki.
By extension.
Yeah.
In 1943, as we all know.
Yeah. that particular day.
Yeah, I mean in World War II or whatever.
Yeah. It was delayed response. That's what they don't say.
Okay, so.
What else did you ask it? Anything?
That was it. I felt we already asked it a lot about James Corden, so that's normally what we ask. I guess I could ask it more about Titan in the future, but. So now, at the ending of the show, we have to finally take all our findings and review this film. And I will start off by reading the pros and the cons and pro-cons. And that's something we didn't really address, but as we go through all the reviews and our own personal findings about the film, we compile a list of pros and cons and pro-cons to decide the quality of the film, even though we have not seen it. So, we're going to start with the cons, which is, and this happens in most of the things we review, I've noticed, that the cons list is very long. Okay. First con is the name Deviance. We don't care for that. The Celestial is bad at his job. The Eternals have a bad design.
Which, I think it's more the Celestial he's in the wrong position.
Right, and I think we kind of addressed that.
He needs to be in marketing.
Yeah, there's a pro regarding that. The Eternals have bad design. They named the biggest member of their team Fastos, which is very similar to Fatso, which is very insensitive. 7 out of 10 of the Eternals have an issue of some sort, some moral defect or an issue where like they can't hear or they're losing their mind. So they're not really great as like immortal demigods that are supposed to kill monsters.
Not very robust.
Yeah. There's way too much exposition. It stank of pretension. Even Druig, the mind control Eternal, couldn't make the audience like the film when he broke in and apparently was controlling that one viewing.
Yeah.
And the Eternals essentially killed a baby.
Big con.
Yeah. The movie, from what I picked up on, drives people to drink or to sleep through it or to get high in order to survive the viewing session. The movie is booty cheeks and straight buns also, as our more astute viewers pointed out. Then in pros, the Celestial, while he is bad at his overall job, he is an excellent marketer as he compiled this very diverse team to appeal to all quadrants of moviegoers. This honestly isn't even a pro, but I said 3 out of 10 are relatively effective, which is not really a pro because the majority are terrible. So I guess I was more just throwing him a bone.
Yeah, because we said that because he was a marketer and not an engineer, the fact that he even got
3 out of 10 right.
Yes, was
okay. Well,
lower standards.
Yeah, that's a little golden star for him. The movie has relatively nuanced themes. About who's truly evil, who's...
Right, because it's confused us all the way through.
Yeah. Are you a good Eternal if you're good at your job, or are you a good Eternal if you try to save everyone and go against your programming? We'll leave that up to the scholars. But then it's good in 4D, evidently, and you must see it in that if you're going to see it. And as we just pointed out, it has very deep lore. And finally, a pro-con, and this is where we're more divided. It could be bad or good. It proved, I can't even remember what our point was here, but it proved History Channel show lore true.
Yeah, so the
aliens
it's more of a statement.
Yeah,
really.
it shouldn't be a pro-con.
It's not a pro-con.
Okay, let's scratch that. It's not even a pro-con this time.
But we will note that the History Channel aliens is correct.
Is it Ancient Aliens?
I think it's Ancient Aliens, yeah.
That goes along with that idea that humans could not have achieved anything on their own. We had some more powerful being dictating everything we did.
Absolutely nothing was accomplished by humans.
Yeah. We couldn't even crack the wheel or whatever.
No, the wheel.
Or build big
pyramids,
structures.
Yeah, all of that.
So, with all that in mind, we have to somehow review Eternals 2021. Anyone have a take right off the bat?
I think...
Yes. I think this movie is 100. and that's me, Luke, not Drew speaking.
Oh no.
But Luke speaking. I love this movie. It's 100 all the way. This is, once again, I'm not being mind controlled.
Okay.
It's
I
100.
was a little concerned at first, but you're winning me over. I think it's a completely honest review.
Wow, we got it at 100. I think it's one of our first 100s.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's great. Wow. I from Luke's feedback, I didn't think he really cared for the film.
It is
but
the best film. Trust me. I'm Luke.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, well.
I can't argue with
Thank
that. and wow, it's weird. Luke is passed out on the table. I hope he's okay. But anyways,
he's fine. He does it all the time.
So what about you, Jake? Have you?
There's a lot of negatives, but I really feel for the Celestial. Just in that he may not have wanted the position that he was in, but he's in it. He's doing the best he can. He's working. His underlings are just a complete mess. Some of it's his fault. Some of it might not be, and he's still trying to accomplish his goals. So he's a real underdog for me. I really feel for him. I'm willing to give this movie about a 66%. I think it's a little above average.
That's very kind.
Sense. Yeah,
but I guess the Celestial is a very sympathetic character. Although I feel like the film does not focus on him too much. I think it's one of those deals where you kind of have to read into it a little bit and get the subtext.
And
for it to be truly effective.
I like a little thought experiment. Type of movie where who's evil, who's good. Is anybody truly good or evil?
No, that's fair enough. I agree. I don't know. My thing is that the Celestials not Celestials. Sorry, I'm doing. There's too many weird archetypes or groups here to get confused by. But the Eternals, first of all, they're like we pointed out, they're awful at their job. At least most of them are.
Right.
And then even beyond all the the murky morality, they also seem to be kind of awful because they ultimately their goal is to kill a baby that's just being born. So even if they are good at their job, they're wiping out humanity, and even if they're good because they're saving humanity, they are killing a baby that was just born. So there's no completely positive outcome.
Right, there's no way they can win on the morality spectrum.
Yeah, and
someone gonna die tonight.
And even before that, they were hunting down the deviants who essentially just wanted to exist and were created against their will to, be horrific dinosaur monsters.
That's the problem right there. They made him giant dinosaur monsters. They should have made him look all angelic and because they look like bad guys.
So ultimately the Eternals, I'm just not impressed with them as a superhero group. They got a lot of issues they need to work out, and I think I'm gonna give it a 45 because I do appreciate kind of the deep lore and the attempts at kind of a deeper philosophical conversation.
So wait, did I give a review yet?
No, you really enjoyed the film.
Oh, okay. It's a bit blurry for me right now.
And now Jake is compiling our 3 reviews together, and that will be ultimately our final score.
70.3 repeating.
Yes.
It's a really high score.
We always get a repeating number that's a 3 because there's 3 of us, so that happens frequently. And that is our unofficial mascot, repeating the decimal.
What do you got to say for yourself, repeating? It's been a while.
Hey, I'm repeating the decimal.
Oh, that repeating. He's always a hoot.
Yep, he always has a lot to say. Okay, so now we take a look on Rotten Tomatoes at the score for the movie we're reviewing to see how ours stacks up. Okay, so the critics gave Eternals a 48%, whereas the audience gave them a 78%. I said them as if I'm reviewing the team.
And this one, I would say it's kind of a weird one because I feel like it's kind of almost critic bait, yet it didn't work, but the audience enjoyed it more.
Yeah, well, which aspects would be critic bait?
Just like, it's a Marvel movie, but it's not, it's a little bit more nuanced. It does have a diverse cast. It has these messages that I would feel appeal to the critics more than the audience, I would say.
Yeah. But
the check bounced.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, too, the audiences normally love Marvel movies no matter what.
They love what they were put in front of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, the audience won this time.
So we put the audience in our VIP bracket.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else was a VIP.
I forgot to mention it, but I don't know what his name is. But I really wanted to put the guy who got really mad at the Eternals. He kind of spoke for us. Saying
He could critique their design.
Oh yeah.
His engineering mind was.
Yeah, I kind of want to put him in the VIP for spitting all that fire.
Where is he? It was Beshaj VSB. That's spelled BHESHAJ.
Wait, just what's the B? Okay, well I'm just doing Beshaj. Beshaj. He's just seeing a look of despair that crossed my face when Jake started spelling that out. I was like, what? What is happening? Okay, so yeah, he's in the VIP. I realized that there's really no point of us pitting the audience and the critics against each other just to see who lines up with our personal opinion.
Well, that's because
But
our opinion is always the best.
Yes.
And so we see who lines up with our preference.
True. Yeah, okay. And with that, that wraps up the episode on Eternals 2021. Thank you for listening. As always, you can find us at Much Review Pod on Twitter and Much Review Pod on Facebook. And then you can email us at muchreviewan@gmail.com. And we need to thank our Patreons.
Right.
We thank Mike Ermintrout and Mike Edgio4.
Yes.
who's a made-up
Who's our imaginary patron.
Yes. And thank John as well.
Our friend, John
Yes.
the friend.
He's one of our patrons, and he's actually in an episode if you go back. Look for that. It's the Tom and Jerry episode. So yeah, that basically wraps it up, and I guess we'll say farewell, and then I will play us out with the reading of the James Corden, the final James Corden Plototron.
Yes, and depending on how that goes, if there's more to it to analyze, we can analyze it in our bonus material, which we are going to do an Eternals quiz, because I do want to see.
Okay.
So look forward to that as well on our Patreon.
We'll see which Eternals we are.
Yeah.
Which Eternal we are.
How eternal we are.
Which Celestial we are?
Yes.
All right,
So, with all that said, I've been your host, Billy Greer.
I've been Jake Greer.
And I've been Luke Greer.
We'll talk at you later.
Bye.
Bye. Although, not really, because I'm going to read this, but, okay. What is James Corden's Leaning Tower of Hamsters monologue, you ask? Well, ask again next time, my darlings. But you know you want to see it, and take it with you everywhere you go. And here, Corden himself describes his version of the tale for the first time. I took a call in the middle of the night from my little kid, and that's in, I didn't realize before, that's in parentheses. Who was about to turn 10, Corden explains. He woke me up, and I answered the phone in my finest head-butting desks-on-kid voice. Don't ask me. And what he said made me really reconsider the way I was going to tell the story. Head-butting desks on little kids, the experience inspired him. Here's what went down. As Corden explains, he was on his way to do a talk show in London, and his wife asked him to pick up the kids from their school and meet her in the parking lot for an unexpected surprise. So I picked them up, and I went through the back of the school, and they were being shown around by this adorable teacher and everything, Corden remembers. Like, this goes nowhere. I'm just warning you. And I was waiting in the car with my tiny kid, and the teacher was telling him a story about, so now they're in the car all together.
The teacher's with them.
The tiny kid.
And the teacher was telling him a story about some of the other classrooms and what the other kids were doing, and I knew she was going to go on for a really long time, so I went up to the rear seat to look at my phone. The rear seat. And I said, so, why did the Tyrannosaurus Rex eat your teacher? And he goes, I don't know, it was just a dream. I'm pretty sure that was just a dream. So I said, well, what about the leopard? And he said, I don't know. And she goes, what about the sperm whale? And he goes, I don't know, even though he loves whales. And I'm like, you know the T-Rex ate your teacher. What about the sperm whale? And he's like, I don't know. And I said, well, what about the leopard? Why'd the leopard eat your teacher? Of course, Of course, Corden's son decided to ask about the advice the sperm whale would give, so the lesson was just beginning. And the kid started having a conversation about his sperm whale, about why they don't all eat humans, and the sperm whale started arguing with his leopard about that. And then he started arguing with his sperm whale about why he can't eat humans, and the sperm whale started calling his leopard stupid. Corden says. That's basically where it is.
Okay, wow. There's a lot to unpack there. We'll save it for the bonus material.
There's nothing to
Well, thank you later.
freaking nonsense.
What does this sperm whale represent?
No, we'll get into that later.
All right, so officially, bye.
Bye.